to infinity and beyond.
What's up, everyone? It's Roger and James here from DisKingdom.com with Infinity and Beyond podcast, your weekly video game news all about Disney, Star Wars, and Marvel. So on this week's show, we're going to be doing a little bit of an evergreen show because I'm probably at this point sat on a lovely beach somewhere. So this one on episode, we're going to be talking about kind of how the effects of what's been going on with Disney gaming this year could affect the game long term, because they've cancelled Disney Infinity, they cancelled Avengers Alliance 1 and 2, Kabam just announced Star Wars Uprising has been cancelled. We also know that other bits and pieces like different apps and stuff have also kind of gone the way, and kind of what this long-term effect is on Disney fans, because there's been a lot of grumbling going on all three communities. Because I did check, because at first there's been a lot of stuff about Disney Infinity where Disney fans are like, I'm not buying another game, I'm not playing another game, I can't do this anymore, they've broken my heart, they've lied to us, and then I saw the entire same thing play out on Avengers Alliance with people wanting petitions and people saying I'm never playing anything else from them, and then Star Wars Uprising, probably less so, but it's still there. So James, what's your sort of initial feelings on what this long-term effect could be from Disney's recent actions?
My honest opinion is there will be a lot of blowback initially. People, will start these petitions and they'll raise their pitchforks and their torches and whatnot. Long term, probably not so much, actually. I think there will be people who will be skeptical of any new game that comes out. They'll be less likely to spend any money on the game, at least initially. But long term, I don't think a company like Disney is really going to feel an impact from canceling games like this. There will be negative PR, but it will be forgotten by the time the next big thing comes out.
Yeah, this year seems to be a real bad year for Disney gamers because of the way that I think a lot of this stuff, like the Avengers Alliance stuff, came about because of the long-term effects of them cutting jobs all over the place, and it was kind of maybe wasn't quite so head up, and because of Disney Infinity being so far ahead of where it was with the development of the toys, they had to cut it quicker, and that was the one that was losing the most amount of money. I think the Star Wars Uprising one is more about Kabam not making enough money, and maybe the license is not paying enough for the license, or they're not making enough profit, which is not really Disney, but it kind of will all get lumped into the same thing of this year, of what's going on. But no, so I think as far as Disney game, I think for me it kind of falls into two platforms. You have your console gaming space. When Spider-Man comes out on PlayStation 4, no one's going to notice. No one's going to notice anything. Everyone is just going to play the game, enjoy it, because it's a standalone experience. And if they just keep coming out with those kind of games, they wouldn't have any impact at all. If there's a Pirates of the Caribbean game and an Incredibles game, they're all going to be done on their own merits. Kids are going to buy them. Families are going to want them. And I don't think they will be really impacted too much at all from it. I don't know if you feel the same way on the console stuff like that.
No, I agree. The consoles are definitely not going to be impacted by this very much, because I think, it's easy for us to forget that not everybody follows every little tiny news bit. In fact, the majority of people don't. The majority of people, the way they found out about Disney Infinity getting canceled wasn't news articles and outrage and petitions, but I'm going to Target and all of the Disney Infinity items are on clearance. Why are they on clearance? Oh, they're not creating anymore. Oh, well, that's too bad. I guess I'll play some Lego Dimensions instead. I think it's a little bit different with the mobile market, but we'll come back to that in a little bit.
Yeah, I do feel like Disney, I think there will probably be some Disney Infinity fans that will not want to maybe jump into Lego Dimensions, and I know there's been a few people who said they're out of Toys to Life because they don't want to get burned again. So I can see Lego Dimensions might not be able to pull everybody over. However, I think with Lego Dimensions is that thing with Lego is even if the game was gone tomorrow, those Lego pieces will still be able to go into just a normal Lego piece. You could use them as a normal toy.
Yeah, and in fact, that's why I have a number of the Lego Dimension sets that I do. Was never to play with them in Dimensions. It was just I would really like to have this minifigure. Yeah. Oh, or the car that it comes with, or whatever. I've got most of the DC characters, the comic characters that have been released, and I probably will never even use them in the game, except Aquaman because of how much hate he gets, and I've got to have some Aquaman representation.
On a side note, that Lego Batman movie story pack, I'm getting that. That looks awesome.
But absolutely, that movie looks fantastic. I know it's the distinguished competition, but still, that movie looks fantastic.
You work for the other competition anyway. You are already Hydra.
I thought we established I wasn't Hydra. I went back to Shield, and I rejoined Shield. We just recorded this, so this is a conversation from like 10 minutes ago. But for anyone listening at home who's confused, this is from 2 episodes ago now.
We're in a time loop. But yeah, I think generally console-wise, what's been going on, it's not going to affect it. When little Timmy goes to the store and sees the new Olaf game on the 3DS, sat there in 2 weeks, or when this comes out, he'll pick it up. It's not going to make any difference because it's Olaf and it's just a game. When Spider-Man comes out, when there's a new Lego game, it's not. I think that will go very, very quickly. Whether or not people would buy it, I think there's just general skepticism about the whole Toys to Life game market anyway. I think that's more of the issue.
Well, to go back again to 2 episodes ago, for people listening at home, you were at EGX and you were at the Skylanders booth, and there was nobody there.
No.
And it certainly sounds like, from what we've heard, Skylanders, as much as I enjoy the series, and I will admit I am a Skylanders fan, if they don't do this new game right, and if it doesn't sell well, I think we might be looking at the end, because the last couple of games have just not been good. Lego Dimensions is the exception. It seems to be doing okay. Obviously, and Disney Infinity is gone. I haven't heard squat about Amiibo, other than like every once in a while, like they had the Wolf Link or whatever with the Zelda game that came out not that long ago. But it sounds like they don't. The Amiibos are just kind of something that occasionally pops up, and they have very little thing to do with anything. So.
I think it's kind of been a stopping gap rather than waiting. It really depends on if they're with the NX or whether or not they want to push them or not. I think it was a bit of a crutch that get them through where they were. But yeah, I think generally like there's a bit of skepticism there. The big issue I feel this year with all these titles being through is the mobile market and the PC market and I think this is with all these games is they have a tendency, they've been like, and the whole industry has been about collect this, get all the characters, get all this, raise your level up, rank up as high as you can, grind, buy as many characters as you possibly can, you need all these cards, you need all this, and you spend all this money, and then they pull the plug. And all 4 of the games actually that have been cancelled this year, all fall under that same thing of get this, buy that, rent it, all these kind of things. And then they go, we're closing it down. And
it's gone.
It's gone. There's no, and your money has literally just been, you might as well have just taken that money and just popped it straight down the toilet and hit the flush button because it's gone. There is no long-term investment. There is no money back. You can't play the game after. I mean, Disney Infinity is slightly different, but if you played it on the mobile version, you've got nothing. You can't even play that. This is where the long-term effect of, and I see it a lot in the comments when these stories break on like the big sites like Kotaku and Polygon, and all the comments underneath of this is the problem with mobile games, this is the problem, and it's not even necessarily about the game, it's just there's a general skepticism about these products. And I think this is where the problem is. It's like people that did Avengers Alliance, are they going to jump over to Future Fight and Contest of Champions, or are they going to jump into another game that's already established, or are they just going to, right, that's it, I'm burned them out now?
I think actually you're probably going to see a lot of the latter. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are like, you know what, I invested X amount of dollars in Avengers Assemble, and they're going to be like, I'm not going to spend that money anymore. I was right the first time it was Avengers Alliance. Yeah. And there will be some people that be like, all right, Avengers Alliance is gone. I'll just go ahead and play Avengers Academy or Contest of Champions or whatever. But I think the people who are going to do that are going to be the people who didn't spend any money on it or only spent like $5 on it. The people who dropped actual legitimate amounts of money, I suspect they're going to go back to console games. But I mean, the important thing to remember is this isn't unique to mobile games. No. This is just where it's most pronounced. Yeah. Because if we've been playing MMO games for a very long time, then we've certainly encountered this before. Star Wars Galaxies no longer exists if you put any money into that, and you had to put money into it if you were playing it because it wasn't free to play. That's all gone, and that's hardly the first time. So
no, I mean, there's just generally been there's a big argument going on now. I think a lot of discussion about how this like free to play model is not actually as profitable as it. The big games are making lots of money out of it, but people are becoming more and more skeptical. And like we've said before, when you're playing a mobile game, how many of us literally played for the free bit that we can play? The minute we get locked out on the timer, we just jump to another Disney game or another game, and you play that one. And then you get hit another timer, and then you jump to another game, and you jump between 3-4 games and use an hour and a half rather than doing it all the way through. Okay, yeah. So this is the kind of the big thing. I don't know if like gaming company, like the big company, really do care if the fans come back or not in some ways, because I think they just assume they will be. I don't think it's a bit like with movies. Like, you know, Sony might make a dreadful Ghostbusters movie. But when Spider-Man comes out and does amazing money, everyone's going to forget about Ghostbusters. You know, a bad movie doesn't necessarily mean it. So the game probably doesn't really affect it because people just buy a new one. I think the long-term effect is, I do wonder if people are quite going to be as willing to put down a lot of money on a lot of mobile games or PC games, knowing that they can just be... And maybe they need to work on better ways of letting these games stay around a little bit, maybe make them a bit more offline friendly. I mean, maybe I think they're just going too online capable, and I think that's one of the big issues that they're finding.
Yeah, this is obviously the big issue of the current generation, and to a degree the last generation as well, is a lot of these games, once they lose the online component, you can't do anything with them anymore. In fact, recently announced a couple weeks ago by this podcast standards was Xbox or Microsoft announced that the original Forza Horizon was going to be going offline, and that game is entirely online, even if it's in the background. And I think that caught a lot of people by surprise. And you know, that's just the way it is, especially since they gave it to us for free as an Xbox Live Gold title recently. It's kind of a kick in the pants.
Yeah, I think we're right in this weird bit where they're like literally finding out what they've been pushing and pushing and pushing for this online capability, because that's what they want us to do and what they think we want to play, and what maybe it's cheaper to run, or they just think that's the future for gaming. And then when the game gets cut like it does, there's a big audience going, whoa there, people, this is not, we don't like this part of it. We like online play, but we don't like it being turned off. But also there's that thing of like, maybe companies need to be a little bit more transparent and say, right, you have got, this is a 5-year project. You've got 10 years. This game will, I know they don't really want to be putting a date on it, but maybe they need to start putting some warnings on at the things of going, this game has an expected lifespan of 5 years, or is, and then they can turn around and go, oh, we're going to extend it for 2 years because it's so popular, rather than maybe give that kind of expectation, rather than just, I mean, obviously they can pull the plug a bit earlier and they can, you know, go, oh, sorry, it's not being used as much, but we're in this weird bit where they don't seem to quite work out what they, if they want to sell it to people, they're going to have to work out a way of doing it. If we're just licensing software where we're paying a monthly subscription, or we're paying for a 3-year or a 5-year license, maybe that's it, but we're still in that physical part of video games, and I think this is where this all gets mixed up. Yeah,
and I think this is going to be the question that's going to haunt us for the next couple of years, is where's the balance in all of this? And I have to admit, as a gamer, it does make me less likely to take a risk on a game if I don't know for sure that game's going to stick around long enough for me to enjoy it properly.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a single-player game. If I'm playing a single-player game, but I don't know if that game's going to continue to get support, and because it doesn't get support, I won't be able to play it, even though it's a strictly single-player game, why should I put money behind that?
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of interconnected with it. Like, so yesterday, so going on a flight, so I was just checking out the e-store on my DS, because I don't tend to play it too often. Sorry, and there was some games on it. Now, it really annoys me when the game is cheaper for the physical product than it is for the digital one. I'm sitting there going, well, if I buy this digital, will I be able to play this, for example, on the NX if it gets backwards compatibility? Probably not. because they've never done it. And I was looking at like Super Mario and Sonic, and going, I already brought this virtual game on the Wii. I've already paid for it once. I brought the damn thing when it came out the first time, and I brought it on again. It's like I'm not buying it on another platform because of I've already brought it a few times, and now we're not the license now. Sony seem to be a little bit better in some ways of Xbox and stuff, but you can't play it on all the different devices. So there's I have been buying a lot of games digitally. This year, Marvel Alliance 1 and 2, Spider-Man 2, all the pinball games. A lot of the stuff now I am doing digital because it is easier and it is quicker. But there is that thing of I don't have the physical disc. If they turn it off or the server's not working, less likely on a single experience like Spider-Man 2. But, looking at this game on the disc, I think it'd be safer to buy the disc on this.
Yeah, and then there's always that question of like whether or not the platform is going to exist beyond the current generation. I think both Microsoft and Sony have taken steps to alleviate that. We've talked about this in the past with, the iterations of Xbox One and iterations of PlayStation 4. But I remember, for a long time, I refused to get digital movies before they were released on, say, Google Play and Amazon and stuff like that, because you know what? It's great that you've got this program called Ultraviolet, but what happens when Ultraviolet disappears? It hasn't yet, so good for them. But at the same time, why should I have confidence in this platform? Why should I buy my songs on something other than iTunes? Nowadays, of course, it doesn't matter. It's all DRM free. But back in the day, it was like, why should I buy something on iTunes, not on iTunes? But then, why should I buy ebooks not on Amazon? Yeah,
but then even they've realized that they need to offer that long-term thing because people want to pay something and own it. Now, Ultimate Alliance 2, for example, perfect example of a game I brought digitally because that was all it was released on the PS4. I've played it. To be honest, that's the end of it. I'm not going to go back. But if they pull it off, or I can't get it off, I get the PlayStation 5 in a few years' time, it might not work. I also was looking on the PlayStation Store yesterday and saw, I think, Toy Story Racers on the PS Vita for £1.69 or something on PS3, PS3, and also PS Vita. Now, it's the kind of thing, if that was on the one system where you could buy it, and it would then work on the PS4 when they add it backwards compatible or whatever. They won't, no, because they'll re-release it to make you buy it again. And this is like we're right in the middle of the remastered zone where they're remastering everything to sell it to us again. But it's difficult. It's an odd. We're in this weird bit, and I do wonder. I feel like Disney have all these big hits with closing down games. I think it's the microtransactions that seems to be feels slightly separate from buying the actual game, but they're kind of slightly, they are connected but a little bit different.
It's kind of weird, like at least for myself, just speaking from my own perspective, there seems to be a difference between how I associate spending money on buying a game outright and buying microtransactions within a game. Like if I spend $20 and I get Final Fantasy X, the remake for PlayStation 4, and then for whatever reason it no longer works somewhere down the road, at least I go, okay, well I got the $20, I played the game and I'm done with it. On the other hand, if I spend $20 on Disney Magic Kingdom, their mobile game, and then a year or two from now it goes offline, I feel like that $20 is now gone. Yeah. Even though there's functionally no difference. I didn't have it in either case. I don't feel cheated by getting the console game. I do feel cheated by losing the money off of the microtransaction. And it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because the grind factor of the leveling up and the collecting aspect of these games is what makes it, you feel like you're buying something but you're not. You've got those little zum-zums behind you there. that is an example of you buying, and you could have, you're collecting up your little system, and it's the same thing. But that table, the cat stand underneath of it, if that was to be, and speak of the devil, he just popped up just at that time. There's that kind of thing of, if that needs to be replaced in 5-10 years' time, you buy another one. But it is that kind of weird thing. I don't know. I think microtransactions, people are fighting it because sometimes with these mobile games is they have these options. We were only saying, I was saying about this. This $150 option on Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key. Well, you could go buy 3 AAA games for that. You know,
3 new AAA games.
Yeah, you know, and that's the massive difference. And all you would get in that game was a few little extra medals and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I'm personally, I don't like grinding a game just for the sake of collecting stuff. I'm not that kind of player. You know, I don't like, you know, I mean, Assassin's Creed, oh, there's 100 feathers. I've got to find every single one of them. Avengers Alliance, Ultimate Alliance, you know, find all the Black Panther things. I don't need to. It doesn't affect my game. I don't need to have it. I haven't got the costume. I just want to play the story and have the experience. And I think with these mobile games and stuff, I mean, I'm going to be honest. You know, if a new character comes out for Disney Crossy Roads, I'm buying one character because of doing videos and stuff for the website. If I wasn't doing the website, I wouldn't buy it. And that's being honest. I don't see value. But if I could have brought an unlocked version of Disney Magic Kingdoms or Disney Crossy Roads for $9.99, I'd have done it in a heartbeat. And that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just uninstalled Crossy Road, but I think I like the way that they monetized it. You know, you can get all the characters for free, or almost all the characters for free, but you have the choice of spending a very small amount of money, relatively speaking, on unlocking 1 or 2 characters just to get access to the zone, because it's only like, what is it, 79 pence for you over there, 99 cents for us over here. And that's fine. You know, give us the option. But then you get games like Disney Magic Kingdom or Avengers Academy or something like that, where it's like, okay, well, we'll sell you different parts of event currency or things that generate event currency. And it's like, well, as soon as the event's done, what's use is this? None.
I mean, it's like Captain Jack Sparrow was like $7.99 half price with some gems. Like, whoa, no! I'm not even playing as this character. It's not worth the income. And I think as a gamer, you've got to work out how you want to do it. I think this thing of being burnt by Disney with this aspect, I think Disney Infinity was slightly different because you had the people that have done the PC digital. You know, if you spent money on all those characters on iOS, you know, they were £2-3, £2-3 to go. You know, it's gone. But then, like, if you have the figures, at least you still got the figures, and I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I just feel like Disney time will heal it, but I just feel in general that I think that mobile collect everything grind aspect is gone for a lot of people. Yeah,
absolutely. And personally, I used to feel that way. You know, back like original Pokemon, collect all 151. Early days of the Xbox 360, got to try and go for the 1,000 achievement points. The day I realized I didn't have to do that, or I made peace with the fact that I didn't need to do that, I started enjoying games a lot more again. You know, they'd stop becoming a chore. But we are wired in some weird way to collect them all, to want to get all the little bits. And this is what the developers have realized. It makes money. And that's the problem.
I mean, it's like with the Disney Crossy Roads. You know, they come out with that like mega pack of $17.99 for all those characters. And I will be honest, I don't know if that's really worth it for some people, because, and if you are willing to put down that price, some people might be looking at, well, it's a small price. It's just, you know, if I look at the price of buying, you know, Mike from Disney Crossy Roads, and he's 79 pence, it's a chocolate bar. It's a disposable purchase, and that's the way you need to look at it. It's a disposable purchase rather than a lifelong collectible item, you know. Which, you know, it's like everything, you know. Those Zum behind you, there's Vinimation behind me. There's unlike in physical collecting, where they might have a possibility of becoming worth more, they also have a very, very high tendency of going in a charity shop or a bin in a few years' time because they're worthless, and you've moved on to someone else.
I would hope, at least over here in the States, I don't know how big they were over there, we would have learned the lesson with the Beanie Babies, you know, a decade and a half ago. But I know people, I've worked with people who, you know, they collect these things and they hold on to them because they're like, all right, if I get the complete set, then I can sell the complete set for more money than the individual's. Like, you're not getting your money back.
It happens a lot in the Funko. You can see it happening in the Funko one. I can as well.
Even despite the fact that I don't understand the appeal of Funkos, they kind of creep me out a little bit, to be honest. I don't.
Yeah, remember
get
you can
the
check out
collection of that one.
popvinyls.com for all of our latest Funko news. But no, I have this feeling that same thing could happen, and I think it's anything to do with collectibles. There's very, very strong chance of this happening, and I just feel like this is a really bad year for Disney games, the mobile things, and I think in general, if you have been affected by any of these games closing, I know this is kind of, some people maybe take it out on Disney and say, "Oh, you're just taking our money," and I've said this before. 10, 15 years ago, if Disney closed a game, no one would know about it because the game would still be on the shelf and you could go play it. You wouldn't have known any difference. You would have just, they would have all, instead of them going on to the next game, they just got cancelled and they moved on to the next team. You wouldn't have known about it. Social media makes it a little bit more emotional, but this online play is where the issues are a little bit more stinging. They're, if Epic Mickey 2 got cancelled, and so we didn't get Epic Mickey 3, you still got Epic Mickey 2. You still have it. And I think there's that fundamental difference. And I don't know, like with Disney fans, they complain about them. They've closed this or they've stopped that. Or 20 years ago, no one would have known any different. You just would have done it. And I feel like we know too much in this online play is where we're going to sort of have a difficulty with it. And they're going to have to find that line. The companies are going to listen to what we're saying and have to change their fund, because they can't keep that model going indefinitely. They can't keep launching games, people investing hundreds of dollars in them, and then they're cancelling them. That's not going to work long term.
No, it definitely won't. But by the time consumers, or at least the consumers who spend a lot of money, kind of twig onto that, it'll be something else. There'll be whatever the next wave of microtransactions are. But I mean, this is also nothing new. People going, I'm never going to buy a Disney game because Disney Infinity was canceled. I'm never going to spend money on a mobile game because Avengers Alliance was canceled. You go back 10 years and people were saying, I'm never going to buy another EA game because of how the EA spouse situation went down. I'm never going to buy another Call of Duty because it's all just retread over and over. And yet it ends up being the #1 seller of the year every year it comes out. So, yeah, it's... There will be people who will follow through. There will be people who will never buy another Disney game because of what happened with Infinity. But you know what? I don't think Disney really is too worried about it.
No. And this is the next thing as well. For every single person that does that, another 5 have been born in the minute. There's another 5 customers have been born in another 5 years' time. I think there's a new sucker born every day.
Well, it's not even at that rate. It's a faster rate than that.
Yeah.
And then I think we're also, this is going to get a little tangent, but I think we're getting to the point where social media outrage is kind of hitting a peak of effectiveness. Because not that long ago, if you got social media behind you, the outrage could topple, famous people. You remember here in the States, Mel Gibson, of course, with his famous tirade against the police officers and whatnot, and his career was done, just gone. But now we're getting to the point where Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr and all these things are so filled with outrage that every little bit's just like, oh, okay, and then 2 days later you've just completely forgotten about it.
And I think sometimes companies go to ground and just shut up about it and hope it'll blow over. Disney Infinity did that a number of occasions. They were just... And then sometimes, like with what happened with Moana's costume this last couple of weeks, they pull it because it's not right, and the reaction was correct, or the reaction was not deemed that what they did was right, and it's not worth it from Disney's to outrage anyone, or they don't want it because it could affect them. There is that thing of sometimes the outrage works, sometimes, like you say, there's just too much noise of it, and it's like the stuff with Avengers Alliance. Kabam shutting down Star Wars Uprising is because they're not making enough money. Marvel Alliance, I do feel like they're not handling it very well when they do it. But then again, I think they're just all having to learn what's going on. And I think that's a thing for us as well as gamers. We have to learn what we're willing to do, and we have to do our own rules. And if all these characters come out and all these things, actually we'll look at it and go, that is not a long-term investment. This is just a throwaway product. Can I afford it? If you can't afford it, it might not be the best way of you playing games. If you can't afford it and you're struggling and you're really that upset, maybe change your gaming style. Maybe you need to look at playing console games or playing something else rather than or maybe go on Amazon or something like that and become like a gamer where you can play differently. This microtransactions are sucking people in. It's like almost like gambling addiction.
Oh, it is gambling addiction. I mean, obviously, I can't quote a psychological study for this. I don't think anyone's actually done that, but it definitely feels like you're going on to the same thing, and you're going into the, well, I've already put $5 into this. Well, those $5 will be wasted if I don't toss another $2 or $3 at this, and that's what they're banking on. It's triggering that same part of the brain. So.
No, it's very different. I mean, it's like you say, this whole thing of like gaming and that. Companies are trying to work out a way of how to get the money coming in from different sources and which ways will work, what isn't. These companies are going to be learning from their experiences of what's happened this year. Kabam might not care. They might not, they might just move on to the next thing. But then they might not ever get another Star Wars franchise to do with this. So that might be the end of it. But Disney have been learning stuff, and they're outsourcing, and when they outsource, it makes it even easier for Disney because they go, well, that was Gameloft or that was Kabam. That's not us, and that's going to be. It's not going to be the last one we're going to hear of this. But if you were that hit by one of these games closing, you've got to do your own thing. We got hit with Disney Infinity. We put lots of money and time into that, and it went. Some people have gone off to play other games. Some people are playing just Disney stuff. Some people are still, clinging to it. It's very. It's your choice of how you want to play it.
And, at the end of the day, everyone's just going to have to kind of adjust expectations as we move forward from here.
Yeah. Yeah. Or more importantly, if you're if you're spending that much on microtransactions on your phone, get yourself a DS, get yourself a Vita, buy a full game, enjoy. Because I think we're just old school. We pay a game, we pay for it, we enjoy it. I can't stand microtransactions and pay to win. I don't like it. It doesn't. Mobile games should be fun for a little bit of time. But that's my personal experience. I'd rather buy Avengers Ultimate Alliance 2 and play that for 20 hours, enjoy it, and then put it away.
You mentioned playing it for like 20 hours or whatever there. That's the other part of it, is how do we measure how much time we spend on these games? I don't really. I'm sure there's apps that'll let you count how much time you spent on another app. But if I opened up Disney Magic Kingdoms right now, and I let's say I bought the Frozone pack when that came out, The Incredibles, and I picked up Wall-E, have I gotten my money's worth out of that? Maybe I have. Have I played this game for 10 hours or more? In which case the cost value goes down to like $1 an hour or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. And again, these aren't even active games. This is a game where I tap on it, get my resources, tap on it again. How do you count that? Am I getting it?
But it's like a movie. If you go see it at the cinema, you are going to pay a premium product to see it as fast as you can on the biggest screen you can. If you then wait for it on pay-per-view or buy it on a digital product, you're going to pay a different price. And then if you wait for it then to appear on Netflix, you're only paying $7-8 a month. So you can have lots of them. Or if you wait till it turns up on terrestrial TV or cable, you've had to wait 5 years, but the value is free because you've not invested any money in it. It's the same thing with games, and obviously with time of how much it drops in price. But this is the same thing of entertainment. You've got to work out, is Uncharted 4 something that you have to play at launch and you're going to get your worth out of it, or do you wait till it comes down to the Classics edition and you pick it up for $19.99? Everyone has their own individual one, and I think that's the key.
And I think a lot of people actually need to start making that as a more conscious choice of what they do. Some people just say, I only want to get it on sale. But, the starting price is only $4. I mean, how much are you going to save on sale? As an example of that, we got the Zimzums behind me here. I'm like, part of me is going, oh, you shouldn't pay full price for those. You should wait for a sale. It's $5. Yeah. If it goes on sale, it'll be $4. Congratulations, you didn't have it for a month and you saved $1. As opposed to, say, buying a Lego set that starts at $60 and goes on sale and it eventually becomes like $40, maybe. Yeah. That's a significant savings and might be worth time, but it's going to be different for everyone. What they consider worth it.
This is a good example. Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was $49.99 digital, 1 month. I picked up in the sale the gold edition for $13.49 or something. To me, that $13.49 was a massive. That was a good bargain. I feel I've got my money's worth out of it because I got it. That $49.99, it might have not have been. It's that, it's a very difficult one. I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this week. We'd love to know your thoughts on all of this. Comment below, get in touch with us, let us know on your thoughts on all of this. So James, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at IHI_James and vagabondpeak.com. I'm going to get you to do my announcements. I'm going to have it so when you open up vagabondpeak.com, it's going to be Roger, vagabondpeak.com. That's going to be the opening. We'll work out a rights arrangement when you get back from your vacation.
You can get your new special glue at vagabondpeak.com.
Did you say glue?
Yeah, Bond. Well, on that note,
it's too early in the morning for this.
On that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Check us out at DisKingdom.com, and we shall see you guys soon. Later,
everyone.